Sorry about that, babe.
Gun.Smoke originally appeared in the arcades but was ported to the home NES consoles released in North America in February of 1988. For the purpose of this review, we are focusing solely on the NES version. In general, from what I could see, the gameplay was pretty faithful to the arcade version, however there were many changes to the game, including less bosses, extra weapons, and story changes. But that would be better left for an arcade version review or a comparison video. So, with all that being said, in Gun.Smoke, the story and objective is simple. It's up to you as Billy Bob to free the town of Hicksville from the band of evildoers known as the Wingates. Their most dangerous henchmen are the 6 stage bosses, and in order to clear said stages, you must put them to rest. Billy Bob is able to move in each direction and fire in 3. You fire to the left by pressing B, fire to the right by pressing A, and if you do a combo of A and B, you fire straight. Pressing select brings up your menu to show your current weapon and ammo status, and it also serves as a way to leave the general store menu, while pressing the start button, as you probably could expect, pauses the game. Throughout each of the 6 stages, Billy Bob will blast his way through hordes of enemies varying in HP, strength, and abilities. You'll encounter many barrels in each stage which contain power-ups or debuff items. These items include boots, which help make Billy Bob move faster, rifles which extend your gun's range, money bags which give you money to spend at various general stores, skulls which debuffs your speed and guns if picked up, ammo for your sub-weapons, POWs or POWs which clear the screen of enemies. The symbol thing is known as Yashichi, I don't know if I pronounced that right, which give you 1-ups if they are red, or if they are blue they make you invincible for a short period of time. However, the most important items you could find in the level are the wanted posters and the horses. Without a wanted poster, you are not able to complete the stage. That's right, the stage will infinitely loop and you cannot take down the boss until you have one. They are hidden throughout each stage, but if you're unable to find it, luckily they can be purchased at the general store. Also hidden in some stages, but not all to my knowledge, are horses. Aside from the wanted poster itself, the horse is probably the second most important item as it increases your movement speed and allows you to tank hits. Thankfully, these are also purchasable at general stores throughout the stages. Speaking of these stores, you have many great goodies that are purchasable with your money that you get from eliminating enemies and picking up items. One vendor will always offer up various sub-weapons, which include the shotgun, great for crowd control, the machine gun, which fires super fast for those of you like me who do not want to use the turbo functionality on a controller, the Magnum, which is an absolute unit against bosses, and lastly the Smart Bomb, or the Napalm Bomb, shown in the manual, which serves as a POW or POW, but also, most importantly, as an extra hit absorber if currently equipped while Billy Bob is stricken. The other vendor will offer up extra ammo if needed, the ability to buy a horse, or a wanted poster. So both vendors do have their uses. I would also be remiss if I did not mention, if you were to die while using a specific sub-weapon, that weapon will need to be purchased once again, as will horses, even upon stage clearance while having one. There is a decent variety in the 6 stages throughout Gun.Smoke, which include the town of Hicksville, the Boulders, Comanche Village, Death Mountain, Cheyenne River, and lastly Fort Wingate. I find the game does a good job of progressing the difficulty throughout, with the Comanche Village serving as probably the first true litmus test for most first-time players. The difficulty of Gun.Smoke is tough at times, but it's fair. If you utilize what the game gives you, you won't have too much trouble in completing the classic. Namely, always try to get a horse, have the Smart Bomb equipped if you are not on a horse, and use the shotgun for great crowd control. Trust me on these tips. Breaking down Gun.Smoke on a technical level, I would say that overall the game is good, but not great. The graphics are somewhat decent and help convey the mood of the Wild West, however in certain areas, such as the last stage, things can get very hairy in the way of vision, especially on CRTs. You will sometimes have trouble picking up the enemy fire. The shining achievement graphically for Gun.Smoke is quite clearly the cutscenes and wanted poster art, as they are very memorable and sharp. The music is pretty good, but does get fairly repetitive given the type of game that it is. Many of the jingles, however, will leave their impression and help add to the constant climbing gameplay as you progress northward. I touched on a bit earlier, but the controls feel very responsive and fluid, which is very essential for good gameplay in these vertically scrolling shooters. Gun.Smoke is a game that I actually had when I was a lot younger. My parents first got it for me at the Salvation Army in the mid to late 90s. I remember enjoying it, but I never really pushed myself to the limit to complete it until recently. Now, having beaten the game casually, beaten the game without dying, which by the way, if you want to check that out, check out the link in the pinned comment or description below. I also maxed out the score, and because I did all these things, I truly do think that I see the game for what it is. It's one of the lesser talked about, better games / ports on the NES. Oddly enough, one of my complaints about some of the all-time classic games like Castlevania or Contra, for example, were that the games themselves were a little bit too short. I actually think Gun.Smoke is on the mark. Gun.Smoke does not overstay its welcome. But casually and even semi-competitively, the game won't be over in 15 minutes either. It's legitimately, to me, the perfect length for the type of game that it is. All in all, I give Gun.Smoke on the NES an 8.5 out of 10. If you like classic shooting / run and gun action on the NES, then this game is right up your alley. It delivers and then some with tight and addictive gameplay and charm. Perhaps the only complaints that I have for it is that the game on a technical front, both graphically and sound-wise, doesn't really blow me away. The story is a bit shallow as well, and certain sections of the game can be very maddening without proper experience and wherewithal. All that being said, Gun.Smoke is, do I dare say, almost a hidden gem on the console? Try it if you haven't already, and if you have already, then give it another go. Hicksville needs another hero. If you've enjoyed this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing if you haven't already. I do my best to reply to all comments on all videos. Until next time.